Today, we're going to be taking a look at Taiwan Semi's earnings results, as well as a few ETFs that give you exposure to AI. So, here are a few headlines concerning Taiwan Semi, the world's leading chip maker. They just released their Q3 earnings, and they were pretty spectacular. Revenue of 33.1 billion, up 10% from last quarter and up 41% year over year. And that revenue is the total money that the company is bringing in from sales. Earnings per share at 2.92. That's up 39% year over year, showing us how much profit the company made from each share of its stock. And then net income of 14.75 billion, a record high. And that is the actual profit that the company is making after expenses. So the numbers are looking good, but why does this matter? Because TSM manufactures chips for Apple, NVDA, AMD, powering everything from smartphones to AI servers. And the results confirm that AI is still going strong, and there is a demand for what Taiwan Semi is known for, those advanced semiconductors. But when it comes to their stock price, even though TSM crushed it when it came to their earnings numbers, the stock has pulled back after hitting an all-time high this morning of $311.37. Here are a few reasons as to what could be impacting the stock price. Profit taking, investors locking in those gains after this big earnings pop that happened this morning, which is common when a company has strong earnings. But because of the times that we're in right now, those geopolitical tensions, Taiwan Semi's manufacturing is concentrated in Taiwan, and there's ongoing friction with China, making some investors cautious. There are new U.S. export controls aimed at China, and proposed tariffs also add to the uncertainty. In general, just market volatility concerns around the trade policies, even with the strong fundamentals, those results that I shared in the short term, these issues are reflecting in the current share price. So on the day, currently down 2% as of the time that I am recording. AI chips are a big deal currently. Investors are betting on high demand of these chips going into 2026 and beyond. I currently hold Taiwan Semi as well as NVIDIA in my portfolios. But today we're going to take a look at a couple of ETFs, exchange traded funds, those grouping of stocks that give you exposure to a particular sector or indice to give us exposure to even more, like AMD and ASML, Intel, the list goes on. And I know I cannot invest into them all individually. So an ETF is always a great way to gain that exposure in your portfolio. If you don't want to have to pick all those individual stocks, we're going to be taking a look at two ETFs, the VanEck Semiconductor ETF, ticker symbol SMH, and iShares Semiconductor ETF, SOXX. Both red on the day, but let's zoom out. Year to date, up 33.07% for SOXX, and year to date, SMH is up 40.65%. First up, ticker symbol SMH, has an expense ratio of 0.35%. It gives you direct exposure to the companies leading in this tech revolution, but it is heavily concentrated in just a few big names, so you will be subject to more volatility. This pick is great for momentum investors, but something to be aware of if you want a more smooth long-term performance. The fund has 26 holdings. Taiwan Semi comes in at number 2. First on the list with the heaviest weighting is NVIDIA. Continuing in that top 5, we have Broadcom, Advanced Micro Devices, and ASML. Okay, now taking a look at ticker symbol SOXX. This is one to consider if you want a bit more balance. It has an expense ratio of 0.34%. It tracks the New York Stock Exchange Semiconductor Index. It's more diversified than SMH, spreading your investment across both established giants and rising companies in this space. The diversification helps to smooth out the ride a bit more, but still capture the growth of the semiconductor stocks currently. The top 5 holdings in this fund are AMD, Broadcom, NVIDIA, Micron, and Qualcomm. Taiwan Semi comes in at number 12 with a 4% weighting within the fund. So now back to TSM. What made their Q3 earnings so strong? One, AI demand. Advanced chips, especially their 3 nanometer and 5 nanometer, made up 60% of their total revenue. These chips are crucial for AI and high performance computing. Their gross margin hit 59.5%, which is very significant. And then their operating margin came in at 50.6%. This shows that they have efficient operations as well as strong strategic pricing. So looking ahead to Q4, their revenue guidance is expected to be between 32.2 and 33.4 billion. So companies like TSM, whether you invest into it directly or through the ETFs that we took a look at, we're seeing the potential for them to keep pushing higher and higher. But we do have to remember that there are a few risks that we have to keep in mind, especially the supply chain. So when it comes to investing, you just have to make a plan that works for you and stick with it. I'm definitely willing to rebalance and adjust when needed, but at the same time, I strive to incorporate investments that I can hold for the long term. Let's take a quick look at some of my results from investments in this semiconductor space. When it comes to TSM, I'm currently at 53.58%. And in this portfolio, when it comes to NVIDIA, I am up 44.60%. I'm holding NVIDIA in a taxable account as well as an IRA. So when it comes to my investing, I do rely on my foundational ETFs that give exposure to the S&P 500, for example. But I do like to mix in more aggressive ETFs as well as those individual stocks for more growth potential. Here's a look at the 2 ETFs we went over today, SMH and SOXX versus FXAIX, which is a S&P 500 index fund. Over the last 5 years, the S&P up 104%, while SMH is up 275% and SOXX is up 174%. So do some additional research if you are thinking about incorporating individual stocks or additional ETFs into your portfolio. There is higher expense ratios, higher risk, but also a greater opportunity for growth, that share appreciation while AI is booming. So always remember, this is not financial advice. I'm just here sharing my financial journey, current stock market news, never giving suggestions as to what you should buy, hold, or sell. Make sure to leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about these 2 ETFs. When it comes to my portfolio, I only wish I had added them sooner. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.